Baldur's Gate 3 can be confusing for beginners and players that aren't really familiar with this type of game, like a CRPG or Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition tabletop game, making it very difficult to play. But don't worry, that's why I'm here. I invested 500 plus hours, been playing since early access, and if you want to play Honor Mode, I got a lot of tips and tricks for you to help make your Honor Mode a much smoother, easier time when you do start it. So what is Honor Mode? Honor Mode is basically the highest difficulty that you can play in Baldur's Gate 3, and it only allows one save slot. And if your whole party gets wiped, it is done, it is over with, and that is it. And what I mean by that is a single save. Your Honor Mode campaign is basically bound to one save only. You cannot save scum, you cannot make any other saves throughout this game to change anything that you have done. So you cannot save. That one save is just constantly overwritten by the game. And once you make a decision, there is no turning back. Every action, every encounter, every outcome carries the weight of what you just did. So you need to make sure that you are ready for Honor Mode and you are bracing yourself, because this is not an easy task and you can easily mess up. I do recommend playing the game multiple times and at least beating the game once on Tactician difficulty before going into Honor Mode, so you can kind of see what's in store for you and you know what to expect. Like I said, once your party is fully wiped and they fall in combat, your Honor Mode campaign, it comes to an end. A stat summary will follow what you did in your progress, but the campaign itself is over. You can choose to continue your adventure in Baldur's Gate 3 custom mode, but this will not count as an Honor Mode completion, and you won't get that beautiful yellow die from completing Honor Mode. Another thing that we need to learn and know is the legendary actions that they actually put in for Honor Mode for the bosses. So bosses in Baldur's Gate 3 now have legendary actions, which mirror their counterparts in D&D. These extra actions can be triggered at the end of each player's turn, adding devastating attacks to bosses. Now, rewards, like I said, if you beat Honor Mode, you will get awarded a endgame golden D20 skin and an achievement, of course, which is great. And that's all you get for completing Honor Mode. So if these things don't seem worth it to you and you're like, I don't really want to try it, you don't have to. Or if you just want to take a dabble at it and you want to just try it out, you can. That works too. And the reason why I basically say that you should play at least one Tactician playthrough or run and beat it on that is because Honor Mode builds upon the foundation of Tactician difficulty. So outside of the boss fights, most of these encounters will feel very familiar and they will be more difficult than Tactician. You will also have increased long rest cost of 80 supplies rather than 40, which is what you have on Tactician as well. You get 80 camp supplies that you have to use, opposed to 40 if you're playing on Balanced or Explorer. So to summarize this all up, Honor Mode does feel like Tactician outside of the boss difficulty. So everything else besides boss difficulty, it does feel like you're playing Tactician mode. Just the bosses are harder and they're different because they have the legendary actions that I just talked about previously. And to get more into legendary actions, like I said, it's a specific thing just for Honor Mode only. This is not in Tactician or any other difficulties, but legendary actions are basically a once per round passive feature that can be used every round in combat. So starting out the beginning of your Honor Mode run, it will be incredibly difficult. Don't expect it to be easy. You're going to need to prioritize the game's early progression and try to reach level 5 as fast as possible. Range and non-magic users are very powerful early because they do not require spell slots. Lae'zel and Karlach are also powerful, and they help a lot when you put them on your team. So I always recommend Lae'zel, Karlach, and Gale, and then whatever your character is to kind of make up that synergy. Now I'm going to go ahead and give you some 10 tips for Honor Mode. So when you are starting Honor Mode, progression, that is the first tip. Finish the prologue, unlock your companions, and then head to the Hollow City. Then next, you're going to get to Druid Grove. And when you get to Druid Grove, make sure you interact with everyone, loot everything, and sell to stock up on potions, arrows, and alchemy materials, because this is going to help a lot. It's going to help your gold. You're going to want all those materials that you can possibly get, etc. After that, you're going to want to prioritize unlocking Withers. Withers is very important because he can change your classes. He can even change your companions, and you can respec them into what you need, which is fantastic because a lot of the companions do need respecs. So after you unlock Withers, I do recommend respecking your companions to the proper ability scores, classes, and subclasses. Now, my top 3 best early builds to use when you're playing honor mode is the Gloomstalker Ranger, but that does take a little bit more effort and kind of knowing your positioning. Battlemaster Fighter is a wonderful one, especially if you're new and you're just starting out and that's your very first honor playthrough. Battlemaster Fighter is really good all around, and Berserker Barbarian is also very powerful too and early. Basically at level 5 they all get extra attacks, which makes them even more powerful. Your next priority is you're going to want to reach level 5. Engage in the easy quest, explore a lot, and avoid bosses until you get to level 5. Even the Githyanki fights can be very tough and rough before you get to level 5. So I do recommend if you're going to do any boss fights, Githyanki fights, anything like that, make sure it's level 5 and higher. Kind of engage in the easier questing and explore a lot and talk to a lot of people. That's why I said Druid Grove, interact with everybody there. I don't know what just happened to my voice, but that's okay. So the next tip is optimize. Craft your potion of speed, craft your drow poison, craft your elixir of blood, craft your hill giant of strength, and make sure you have your party optimized to include damage, crowd control, and healing. Those are all big main things that you're going to want. And then when you hit like level 5 to 6, you can now engage in the harder fights and take on bosses without dying immediately or instantly, I guess. And another thing that you can stock up on is Potion of Invisibility. They work a lot. They're great. I love them, and definitely stock up on them because they can help prevent a group wipe, which is great. And like I mentioned before, but we're going to put this up here anyways, loot everything. Gold is very precious at the beginning of the game. You need to make sure you're taking and selling everything so you can upgrade your gear and your consumables. Well, so you can get your consumables. Also, that's another good thing too, is looting everything is for your alchemy, because your alchemy, your potions and crafting potions of speed, your elixir of bloodlust, etc., all that stuff, you're going to want to craft those things. So that's why you need to make sure you're looting everything. Now, once you hit level 5 and beyond, you definitely should start feeling much more powerful, especially with spellcasting. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to progress through the story and engage in any previous bosses that were too powerful for you to take on previously. After you do all that and you complete everything that there is to complete there, then you can go and explore the Underdark and Grimforge and acquire very powerful items before going into Act 2. Now let's talk about actions. Actions is how many, turns you have basically per turn that you go. And the easiest and simplest way to increase your actions and get more actions is to take a consumable like Potion of Speed and Elixir of Bloodlust. Elixir lasts until long rest, and it can be applied outside of combat. Some potions do have a limited duration and typically are consumed in combat, so kind of keep that in mind as well. But Potion of Speed and Elixir of Blood is going to definitely help with your actions. So collect as many potions and elixirs as possible and use them very frequently. Make sure you're collecting things, especially when you take out the gnolls and stuff like that. You're going to want warg fangs, you're going to want hyena ears, because that is going to all help in the Elixir of Bloodlust. Now, another tip would be pre-buff. You can pre-buff before combat, and I always recommend, especially if you're playing honor mode, make sure you do your pre-buff spells, consumables, oils, anything before going in and fighting. So for instance, I'll give you an example. If you want to initiate the turn-based combat to give yourself time to apply these buffs, you can. It's actually nice to do that. I do that a lot, and I actually apply the dash buff too, so I have more movement and more freedom to move before I actually go into a fight. Hence why I said you should at least have played the game multiple times so you know what to expect when battles are coming up, etc. And you should at least beat it once on tactician difficulty without getting a wipe. But anyways, yeah, so make sure you do your pre-buffs, all that. It doesn't matter what it is. Dash, potion of speed, elixir of bloodlust. I don't know if you can do potion of speed beforehand. I don't know what I'm saying there. But you know what I mean. You get it, right? So the next tip would be crowd control. Crowd control is a very important aspect of Baldur's Gate 3 combat with stuns, all that stuff, status effects, and, you know, making them go prone, etc. You're going to want to look for crowd control in stuns like hold person, confusion, banishment, chromatic orb, thunderous smite, ice arrows, grease, Tasha's hideous laughter, etc. You're going to want to make sure that you're finding stuff like this, and at least one of your characters, spellcasters, whoever it may be, has these on them, because like I said, crowd control is a very important aspect and you're definitely going to want to use it. Now let's move on to multiclassing. In honor mode, multiclassing is very essential, and the reason why I say this is because you are going to need to multiclass to have the most powerful build and character. The two most common and useful multiclassings are the rogue and the thief, and the fighter with the battlemaster subclass. That is a really good one to use, and you will be very powerful with that build. I do have builds that I'm going to be throwing up onto the channel, so make sure you look out for those, and they will be honor mode focused builds as well. Also, next up on the list is make sure you are getting your permanent bonuses. To maintain maximum combat power in Baldur's Gate 3 honor mode, you are going to need to acquire all the important permanent bonuses. You don't have to do every single one of them, just make sure you get the ones that are very important, like Auntie Ethel's hair, where you gain a +1 to an ability score. I think that one is amazing. Awakened is also another good one because you can use the Lithid powers as a bonus action, which I think is great. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I think it's great. Getting Scratch is another one. You're definitely going to want to get Scratch. Getting the Cheeky Quasi, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's another really good one. Also, Leviathar's Love, that's 30% hit points or less. You gain a +2 bonus to attack rolls and wisdom saving throws. Another great one. And if you really want the Necromancy of Thay, you gain Speak with the Dead with that if you don't feel like you need that. I mean, I think it's a good one to have, but yeah, that's all the ones in Act 1, and you can kind of determine which one tickles your fancy. I guess that's what I like to say. Act 2, you're going to be trying to go for the Potion of Everlasting Vigor, and that's going to give you +2 strength if you need that +2 strength on your character or whatever. And then you're going to want to make sure, if you did save us, aka the brain, you're going to want to pick us up in Act 2 as well, so that way you can summon us as well, and you can summon Scratch. In Act 3, the ones that I would recommend would be the Dance Macabre. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong, but you can create 4 ghouls and summon them. Then there's Mirror of Loss, so you get +2 to an ability score of your choice, which is, I think that's amazing, and I think you should definitely pick that one up. And then there's the Sweet Stone one, which gives you the Blessed Permanent. If you didn't pick up, I think, the Shield, that's also a good one. And then there is the other one that I can't remember the name of, but I'll put it up here for you guys once I figure out the name. But you gain 20 temporary hit points after a long rest. I find that one very beneficial, and I forgot what it's called, but it will go up here, so don't worry. And then there's the Statue of the Gods, which is going to give you a +2 to saving throws. And that is all my tips in this guide for honor mode for you. I kind of want to make it a little bit short and sweet and not too long here, and kind of just get all the points across that I possibly can. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please make sure you just go ahead and post it in the comment section, and I will try to answer you and get back to you as fast as I can. Or if I need to do a video to help explain better or more, I'll do that as well. But thank you guys as always, and until next time, mwah!